Tom, minutes into the legs in the last 2 games, how nice is it to be back?
Yeah, good, I think. It's obviously very frustrating when you're injured, and it's an important part of the season, really. So I like to play a bit of catch-up, but nothing beats playing games, and thankfully I've managed to be involved in the last 2.
Talk to me about missing those opening weeks and the pre-season as well. How much impact does that have on leaving you catching up, like you say?
Probably depends on how you look at it. I've had to work, obviously pretty hard. I think physically it's not so bad. Obviously, I know the gaffer's mentioned like mentally it's not very good. Yeah, that was obviously quite tough, and I think because you know how important it is missing pre-season and things like that. You constantly got that in the back of your mind, and yeah, it's nice to be back in the full swing of things. I think I've been back for about a month now. So yeah, I'm probably not 100%, but getting 80 minutes or so the other night, and I think like 40 at the weekend. Obviously played in the 21s game midweek as well. It's gradually getting there, and yeah, I think that's probably the advantage of having more games. The lads who haven't been playing or who haven't been available, they can pick up minutes here and there, and thankfully we've done that.
How much more difficult is it to build match sharpness when you've not had those pre-season games to build it in?
Yeah, I think naturally when a lot of my game is revolves around being sharp and making runs in behind and things like that. It's obviously pretty important. The first couple of weeks that I was back, you're kind of trying to settle in and more get miles into your legs. You don't feel sharp at all. But I think the last 2 weeks or so I've kind of picked that up, and I think I've shown that in the 2 games that I've played that I'm looking pretty sharp, and I think now it's just about maintaining that and hopefully not picking up any more niggles, because obviously missing so much of the early part of the season, you're always susceptible to potentially picking up something if you're trying too hard or you're fatiguing quicker than normal. So yeah, just kind of need to look after myself the best way I can and keep picking up minutes.
Good to mark your return to the starting lineup with a goal on Tuesday night as well.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to score no matter what, whether it's a league game, cup game. I think it's always nice just for confidence as a player, and it makes you feel a little bit less stiff. When you come back in after a game when you've scored and we've won. I think it was big for the team, to be honest, to get a win, just because we've been a little bit stop-start, and now we need to kind of stamp our authority on the league and try and pick up a good group of wins going into potentially the next international break. If not, then just keep it going as long as we can. Yeah,
what have you made of the start to the season so far?
I think naturally it's been quite disappointing. There's obviously been a few grumbles and stuff which I think have been pretty fair, to be honest. We've probably not quite clicked as quickly as we would hope to have. Obviously we signed a lot of players again in the summer, so there's been a big turnover of players again. We've had people dropping in and out with injuries, but then it's hard. We were talking this morning, you don't want to play the old, we've played probably 5 of the best teams in the league, but we have. And obviously you've got to go and beat them, but on paper they're games that are going to be won by the odd goal, and I don't think any of the games we've been battered at anything. They've all been won by the odd goal. So hopefully we can pick up some wins in the next few weeks, and then when we go to play these teams again later on in the season, we're a little bit more equipped as a squad, where we've got more players available to go and deal with it and do what we need to do.
Is the key to putting a run together turning those fine margins in your favour then?
Yeah, I think a couple of the games it's just been sloppy mistakes. Players hold their hands up. We all make mistakes, but if you look at the Wigan game, goal from a mistake, or 2 mistakes you could say. The Bolton game, sending off from a mistake and a mistake from the official, which happened. Swings and roundabouts. We probably got a little bit lucky at the weekend with Ty not getting sent off for a second yellow, so we can't complain too much. The goal at the weekend again, we've got 28 men defending in the box, and we leave their top scorer, to get a tap in the 6-yard box. I think a lot of the games that we've lost have all been due to errors rather than, we haven't played particularly great, but we've been in the game. We've been in every game that we've lost. We just happen to have come on the wrong side of an error, which is going to happen. But I think now we just need to find a little bit of consistency, a little bit of consistency in our play, be a little bit more relentless in dominating games. I thought we did that well the other night. We didn't let them have a sniff really. I don't think they put 5 passes together in our half. We were really dominant in the game, and we scored 2 good goals, which is what everyone wants to see.
Does that make Tuesday a psychological boost as well then, rather than just the result?
Yeah, I mean, winning's winning. I know for a fact that if we'd have lost, I'd have been coming and not, whether you score or not, like, you don't feel as good. I just think, whether you win a five-a-side or whether you win a game in the EFL Trophy that only 800 people turn up to, winning breeds confidence. And unfortunately, we've not quite backed up wins with more wins. We've kind of had one win, one loss, one win, one draw, whatever it is. So you've not quite got into the swing of, back to back to back like we kind of got into last year. But with what we've got in the dressing room, there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to string, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row. And that's what we're going to aim to do.
You've just mentioned last year there. I know you spoke several times last year about doing something special and getting the club back up at the first time of asking. How much is that a motivating factor for you this year that you weren't able to pull it off last season?
Yeah, I think naturally, especially when you hit 30 in the summer, you want to play as high as you can for as long as you can. And you might not get many more opportunities to get back to a higher level than you're in now. So, the only way you can do that is if you A, play well, and B, get results. I think there's probably more pressure on us this year. I think we didn't get a free pass, but there was a lot of positivity around the club last year where people were mainly happy we were still here. I think this year, the expectation is there to not only get promoted, but to win the league, to win every week, to dominate games. And we kind of need to realise that and accept it. You can't go hiding. You can't be scared to play in front of the 30,000 at home. Just as you can't go to Carlisle away playing in front of maybe 4,000 and think, this isn't a proper game. I think that was probably another positive about the other night, is there wasn't really anyone there, and we still turned up. We still got the job done. We put in one of our better performances of the season. So there's no reason why we shouldn't be able to cope with both ends of the spectrum. And that's probably where we struggled a little bit last year, where we went to the so-called smaller teams, the smaller grounds, and we were picking up, stupid draws, maybe a little lapse in concentration. It's always easier to play when you've got fans cheering you on for 90 minutes. So I'd say, starting this weekend, we kind of need to show people that we mean business and we can do it, at both ends of the spectrum in terms of, our stadium and the small stadiums.
With the season at this level, under people's belts, new faces again that have played in this division before and more time working with the coaching staff, do you feel more well equipped for a promotion charge this season?
Yeah, I think, there's no reason when you look at our dressing room why we shouldn't be in and around it. I think it's all just, application, and you've got to want to work for each other. You've got to want the ball. You've got to want to hit the box and try and score. You've got to, if you makes a mistake, you've got to want to help him out and get back in. They're the basics that really are non-negotiable. There's no reason why you shouldn't be running around. You shouldn't be trying to win a second ball. You are going to have bad games. I accepted that a long time ago that there are going to be days when you turn up and you're just miles off. You haven't got your legs, but there's no reason why you shouldn't be running around, and the manager will take you off. You're not having a good game, that's fine. But what he won't accept is us not putting in 100% every time we go onto that pitch. And yeah, obviously watching from the sideline, it's when results haven't been going our way, it makes you more eager to get back and more desperate to get back, because you want to be on there trying to help your mates and trying to make a difference. And from a personal point of view, hopefully I can do that.
On to Saturday, it's about backing up Tuesday night now. What do you expect from Carlisle?
Well, from what we've seen, similar to the other night, they're going to sit in the back five. They're going to have a little bit of a press, but they're going to be happy to soak up pressure and try and hit us on the counter. And if there was ever an audition, going off what the coaches have said, for this game at the weekend, it was Tuesday. And it's hard. When you play against a five at the back and teams that sit in, no matter what level you're at, it's hard to break them down. The first half the other night, we found it tough to, the final pass, we were getting in good areas, but it's when they've got 5 men in the box all the time, it's tough, and it's about being clever. And, if you look at both goals we scored the other night, they were, not just crossing the ball, not forcing it. It was a bit of clever play for both of them. And we're going to need a little bit more of that, communication and trying things, because you can't just be one-dimensional. We need to kind of not be off the cuff, but try different things to try and score goals. And when they're going to sit in and try and hit us on the counter, it's about trying to do that, but also making sure we're set up, because we can't get done by one ball in behind and they go and score. So yeah, just mainly switch on and yeah, see what we can do.
As I'm sure you became used to last season, it's a sold out away end up in Carlisle. How much do you want to reward them for the long trip they're making?
Well, yeah, hopefully it'll be like Peterborough and Burton. We've had 2 good away wins so far, which, obviously we went to Peterborough, who were a top 6 team, and one which is something we didn't do last year. And we've played against one of the so-called smaller teams in the league and gone and won 3-0. So, yeah, it'd be nice to send people home happy, as it is, for a home game. I know fans travel left, right and centre, but I imagine there's people that travel miles to come and see home games as well. So, whatever game we go, we want to send our travelling support home happy, and hopefully we can do that.